Brand new Cherry Flavor was a TV series I had no idea was coming out until about a few weeks before it did. And it quickly became possibly my most anticipated horror thing of 2021 because it is from the creators of my personal favorite horror television series, Channel Zero. An enormous fan of this show. I actually have all four of the Channel Zero season posters above my television. And so when I saw that they had done something new and the trailer was very intriguing and kind of felt Channel Zero esque, I was like, sign me up big time. And Kaylee is also an enormous Channel Zero fan as well. So we were both just out of our minds excited for this. And it was dropping on Friday the 13th so quickly after we saw the trailer. The one great thing about well, not the one, but one of the great things about Netflix is that they kind of promote something very shortly before something is released. They don't say like, hey, here's something coming out in a year and a half. They're like, hey, here's a promotion for a movie or a show that's coming out in 14 seconds. Enjoy. So that is one really cool positive about them. Now, this is a limited series, so it is a one-off show, like Haunting of Hill House was for Netflix. And this follows a character named Lisa Nova, and she is played by Rose Salazar from Alita Battle Angel. I was very curious to see her in something else because I don't know if I've seen her in anything else. And I'm a big fan of Alita. I think it's a great flick. Hope they make a sequel one day. And I was very curious to see her with normal sized eyes. And I will say it was fairly distracting for a few episodes because I was so used to her having these big anime eyes, like this fucking big, like she does in Alita Battle Angel. But anyways, Lisa Nova comes to Hollywood to try to make her movie based on her short that she made. And this short catches the attention of a producer named Lou. And Lou wants to help her get her movie made. They meet for lunch and he's all about it. And of course, like all these Hollywood stories, Lou is not who he says he is, and he kind of fucks her over. And she's very pissed off by it, as she should be. Lou is a total piece of shit. And so she meets a character played by Catherine Keener, and this woman is Bora, is her name in the show. She is a witch, and this witch tells her that she can get vengeance on Lou if she wants, but there will be a price to pay, as there always is. She agrees to this because she wants to ruin Lou's life. And when she does do this, of course, her life starts to become turned upside down. The price of revenge is high, right? The whole, if you're going for revenge, dig two graves. That kind of feel of this. And she lives with her ex-boyfriend and his new girlfriend, so there's a lot of awkward tension there. And her short film is kind of questionable on how it was made, and there's a lot of different elements of drama. But this show gets pretty damn bizarre. Bizarre in the sense of that she is vomiting up kittens. Yeah, kittens. That's part of her payment to Bora for her vengeance spell, if you will. This is a show that I did quite enjoy, but because I'm such an enormous Channel Zero fanatic, my expectations might have been too high, so I did kind of walk away from it a little disappointed, as in that I didn't feel like maybe it went as far as it could have. I would have liked to see it get weirder and definitely more horror centric, and because there's this like monster character that's following her around, and that thing's pretty freaky, and there's some violence in the show that shows some graphic stuff, but very little, to be honest, in comparison to what I might have hoped for. That being said, I guess Channel Zero isn't super graphic by any means. I mean, it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, but I don't know. There's more of an eeriness. Now, this isn't Channel Zero, nor should it be. So comparing it to is silly, but Channel Zero is definitely more atmospheric. This one actually kind of felt more tongue-in-cheek at times. Like, I felt that Brand New Cherry Flavor was a little more playful, and actually kind of was. There was a good amount of things that were played for laughs. It's almost like it knew how ridiculous certain things were. And characters in this, especially Lisa Nova, or Lisa, are so forthcoming that it's kind of shocking, right? Like, typically when someone asks what you're up to, especially when it's insane, you're not going to say that you're doing that thing or that you need this thing or whatever. And this girl is just blunt, to the point, very, very direct. And I loved that about it. It's the kind of dialogue I would personally write, just being completely candid with people about your intentions, no matter how insane they feel. The one, I guess, where I took issue with the show and why I kind of felt in and out of it was because no one's reactions to anything are even slightly realistic. This show is like reality adjacent. It's like sort of based in reality, but no one really is acting realistic. Like, so much crazy shit is happening, and people's responses to these insane things, like someone vomiting a kitten, almost no one has a realistic response to this, especially in the aftermath. Once it's a minute has passed, people kind of accept things very quickly. Very, very quickly. Then she gets a romantic interest, who is this guy, Roy Hardaway. He's like the big actor in town. And a lot of like the things that he does and the responses and reactions he has are like, would he though? And really, he's just okay with this. And there's no mention of how insane. There's a sex scene between them. And it's definitely one of the most bizarre things you'll ever watch. I'm not going to spoil that for you guys at all if you haven't seen it. But that scene is so fucking insane and so bizarre that there's no way this guy wouldn't be immediately like off-put and wouldn't immediately be like, what the fuck, in the morning or in the moment, Like, there's no mention of it. It's, but that's what you have to accept when you watch the show. That, I guess, maybe when anyone's around her, they're kind of pulled in by her spell, I suppose. But really, the show is about the folly of revenge. I mean, it really just comes down to that. Like, the amount of collateral damage that happens in this show to Lisa and everyone around her is not worth what she's setting out for. I mean, realistically. I mean, that's the truth of most of these kinds of revenge things. So that should be of no surprise. But it's really how it all transpires. And Catherine Keener is just fucking fantastic in this. As is Rose Salazar. I think she's phenomenal in this. As is the guy who plays Lou. The guy who plays her love interest, the movie star. He's from Channel Zero Season 2, No End House, which is actually my personal favorite of the show. I rewatched all 4 seasons and was surprised that No End House ended up being my favorite when it was my least favorite the first time I watched it. And my order completely flipped around. I mean, completely. What was one became last. What was, last became first, and the other 2 flipped exactly around. It was weird. But, second watches, your opinion of something is only as good as your last watch. I will always forever say that. But anyway, yeah, definitely a bizarre show. Not going to be for everyone. It's going to be way too weird for some people. But for the most part, everyone I know who is watching this loves it. Definitely some people here and there who don't, but that's typical. This is a pretty liked show right now, which is actually kind of surprising. I don't feel like this show should be as liked as it is because of how bizarre it is and how anticlimactic I think people will find it. But the message is there. And there's definitely a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of metaphors. You can look for that stuff. And that's the kind of stuff people will have a ball just fucking analyzing and breaking down and saying, this is what it really meant. I mean, you could do that for days with this shit. You know, art is violence, and, you know, you can get into all that kind of stuff. I try not to do that too much unless, you know, I'm just having fun with Kaylee, like we talked about it after. We had some fun. But I would never sit here and try to pretend like I'm some analytical fucking guy who is breaking down symbolisms and metaphors within art projects. I'm just not that kind of guy. I'm not smart enough, to be honest, or educated enough, I suppose, to try to do that. But anyway, overall, it was enjoyable. A little bit of a letdown just because I found myself not feeling like it hit the heights that I would have wanted it to. But I think to the average viewer, they're going to find this show super fucking bizarro. And I'm the guy sitting here like, I wish it would have went more bizarro. And had more realistic reactions from certain characters. I think that would have added a little bit more realism to the unrealistic situations. But anyway, overall, it's a recommendation for sure. You should check it out, see if it's your thing. It's bizarro, but it's a good time, and the performances are strong, even though they're dealing with some pretty silly material at times. But they do a good job of making it not as silly as it seems like it, or as it is. They make it seem like it's not as silly as it is, which is an accomplishment. And very well shot, very well done, as expected. And everyone is very good at what they do. Yeah, so let me know. Have you watched it? Are you going to watch it? Have you ever... Shit, my timer cut off the last like 2 seconds. Anyways, that was my timer to get back to work. And I also want to show you my Channel Zero posters really quick. So enjoy that. Adios. Hey, look what ironically just came in the mail. How cool. $20 on eBay.